Hi guys, in this short video I just wanted to quickly give you an explanation on what are and what's the difference between assets and liabilities. Now before I start on explaining what it actually is, um, I want to highly recommend you guys this book. It actually says it's in Polish, but the original English title for it is Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's by an author known worldwide as Robert Kiyosaki, a very famous American businessman and an entrepreneur and a renegade, of course. He gives a lot of very significant information about assets and all finances. It gives you really important knowledge of finances, including assets and liabilities. So for more information, you can always get this book right here, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I've read this book like for the very first time around I don't remember, like 10 years ago, something like that, and I've read it since a few times already, and I still enjoy reading it. So I highly recommend this book to you guys. Is a very wise man. Robert Kiyosaki has a lot of huge knowledge of finances, and provide you with all the important, significant, education on finances. Things like they don't teach you at school. So briefly explaining what assets and liabilities are. So, according to Wikipedia, the official information, assets are all the resources you have that provide you income, and liabilities, on the contrary, it's all the things that are the sacrifice of economical benefits. But in simple words, let me put it this way: assets are all the things that put money into your pocket, and liabilities are all the things that take away your money from your pocket. Okay, makes sense? So, assets are things like stocks or bonds or any physical sort of resources such as gold, silver, anything that has value and doesn't take money away from your pocket, but puts actually the money into your pocket. So, actually, all the things that raise your capital, your equity. So if we have stocks, for example, and they're worth like, I don't know, $10 each, and within, for example, 10 years, they're going to be worth $20 each, which means that you've doubled your income. So you haven't taken it, it hasn't sort of damaged your economical status, your financial status, because actually it provides you money. So assets are all the things that put money into your pocket. Like I said, it can be stocks, bonds, etc., etc., etc. Liabilities are all the things that take money away from you, they pull out of your pocket, like car, for example, because as everybody knows that when you receive a car, it doesn't rise on the value; it actually loses its value. Also, a very important thing to mention here as well is that house or a flat, for example, is not an asset. It's something people need to understand. House is not an asset. House is a liability. First off, you have to pay the rent. Second, you have to pay like bills, water, electricity, etc. That kind of stuff. You have to pay all the taxes. If you have a mortgage, understandable. Um, that a lot of people say that there's actually a huge, sort of, I want to say, an affair worldwide disagreement that a lot of people say that house is actually an asset, but in my opinion, that's actually I share the same opinion with Robert Kiyosaki that house is not an asset, it's a liability, because like I said at the beginning of this video, liability is everything that takes away the money from your house. Now I know that a lot of people say that, okay, but within, let's say, 20, 30 years, my house might double its worth. Okay, fine, but until that, you lose a lot of money, because first off, you have to pay the bills. Maybe you have a mortgage, that kind of stuff. You might have, for example, people, tenants who, rent the house from you, but they might not pay the bills. So you always have them have a lot of trouble. So you have to refurnish the house from time to time. Maybe something's broken. You have to, make a renovation. Have to buy some new furniture to the house, whatever. So actually, house is not an asset because even though, for example, in 20, 30 years, if it doubles, it's worth. Still, you have to remember things like inflation. Prices go up all the time, constantly. So, like I said, house is not a liability. So, especially that you have to pay a lot of money for having it. Having it. Car, same. It's a liability. So, the most important thing to remember is that if you want to succeed, I mean, if you want to reach the financial freedom that we're talking about consistently, as to make it long story short, you have to make your assets worth more than liabilities. They have to excel the liabilities. So, for example, if your liabilities make you, cost you monthly $1,000, for example, and you do have assets, but they're worth $500, for example, you lose monthly. This were another $500. So the goal is to raise your assets so that it will provide you higher income than the liabilities. So if your assets come to, I don't know, your assets bring you income worth of, I don't know, $1,500, and your liabilities cost you $1,000 per month, still you're $50 plus, and that's okay because your assets succeed, excel your liabilities. And that's the way to financial freedom. So whatever you do, for example, if you're thinking about getting a mortgage, buying this new car, taking a loan from a bank, for example, or this new car, or you want to do something and you want to, purchase something, or you want to subscribe to something to pay monthly, then it's the best way to actually that you can do for yourself. As before you subscribe to anything, or you buy anything, purchase anything, it's better to raise your assets first, so they might cover, okay, so that they might cover your liabilities. So if you have a new liability coming into your life, whatever it might be, maybe you want to rent something, or I don't know, pay a loan, whatever. It would be good if first your assets cover the liabilities, and if whatever the liability comes into your life is gonna cost you extra, I don't know, let's say $200 per month. It will be better for you if first you raise your assets up to at least $200, if not maybe more, to cover the liabilities. Okay, that's how it is. So the more liabilities you have, the bigger costs of life you have. The less assets you have, it costs you a lot. But the more assets you have, the less liabilities, or or at least as your assets cover your liabilities. It's the way to financial freedom. It's one of the options. So I hope that explains a lot. So it's something to think about. It's just, I'm just giving a brief suggestions, my opinions on that. Like I said one more time, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I super highly recommend this book. If you haven't heard about it, I don't know if you heard about it or you haven't, then I suggest you go to the nearest bookstore and basically purchase this book. It's not very, it's not expensive at all. It's very cheap, and especially that you have to be aware that the knowledge that's included in this book is super substantial, and it can, Robert can teach you a lot of things about, financial education and stuff. This is super important because it's a lot of stuff they don't teach at school, and things you can get from this book, they can make you be more aware of your finances and help you out actually through life. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to get some more information on assets and liabilities, you can always go to the internet, read some more about it. If you have any questions, inquiries, whatever you want to, answer me, ask me, be free, willing to give me them. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and God bless.